Welcome, everyone. Welcome once again. We are starting off here shortly. Sheila is going to be my co-pilot this evening. So let me go ahead and pin Sheila, and then I think I pinned Kingsley already, right? So I appreciate everybody's time. This is Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night. And like I always say, Friday night, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here to learn and to improve your knowledge in the cybersecurity space. So we appreciate the effort you put in your personal development. And this is, we always say that we strive to make sure you at least have, you are going to gain something out of this. Your hour or so that you're going to spend here is not going to be wasted by any means, right? So we are starting off. We appreciate everybody. Thank you for showing up. Myself, I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm the founder of Eretmis Academy and the founder of the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a QSA cybersecurity company based in New York. The Cybersecurity Academy is also a cybersecurity training institute based in New York as well. And I love teaching, I love mentorship, leadership, management. So if you see me in a lot of classes teaching and talking about cybersecurity stuff, passionate about cybersecurity and everything that comes with it, and also passionate about making sure that people are successful in this field in general. So I appreciate everybody's time for showing up. Now today, starting off, we are going to start off from before and after. So we are going to do a before and after, right? We have a video that Kingsley might probably will recognize, but might probably have forgotten about this. So what we do is mostly with our students, we do, you know, like once in a while, we'll do one-on-one and see where they are and what they are struggling with, right? So that way we all have a background story of going into this. It's not like we just brought Kingsley from nowhere just to come and just talk we are here, one, not to sell anything, but to let you know that it's possible if you want to break into the security space. And then also somebody has done it right now. Today is going to be Kingsley. Kingsley saw other people come in and give in their testimonies. And Kingsley was like, you know, if I'm able to, you know, scale it and get to the other side, I'm going to be the like the poster boy for Eretmis. And he actually said that on record. So we are going to start off with a video that like a meeting that I had with Kingsley. He was talking about some of the issues he was having right after the internship. This is, I think, February 2022, right? So we are going to start off with that. I'm going to skip some of it because it's almost like 17 minutes. And then we will give the floor to Sheila to start asking Kingsley the questions, right? And as we are moving through, we also open the floor for everybody to also pick Kingsley's brain on what he's doing now, right? So before I even start that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Kingsley and Sheila. So Sheila is the PRO / so many other things at Eretmis. Sheila is a cybersecurity professional. She's the regional cybersecurity analyst for the state of Massachusetts. And Kingsley, I'm going to have Kingsley introduce himself. Kingsley used to be a corrections officer, a correctional officer, if like that is the right word. He rose up in the ranks, and now he has switched. He's senior security analyst at Wells Fargo, right? So how did he move from being like the corrections industry for I think almost 10 years plus and switching over to become a security professional? How easy or hard was that? And what is he doing now in his new role at Wells Fargo, right? So Kingsley and Sheila, you can introduce yourself briefly, and then, you know, we will move on and watch Kingsley's before video that he might probably not remember. Right. Go ahead, Sheila.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yes, I think Dr. D already introduced me. So I am the regional cybersecurity analyst for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm a lifetime student and a previous internship that we had, a formal student internship. A former, and then I'm also still a current student, a lifetime student of Dr. Edu. So here we are. Kingsley, please go ahead. Enough about me. Today is about you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching us from. Like Dr. Adu said, my name is Kingsley Longe. I currently work for West Fargo as a senior information security analyst. And coming from the law enforcement background as a correctional officer, who moved through the ranks, I promoted, became a sergeant, and then transferred from there into parole, became a parole officer before I switched finally into cybersecurity. So that's my background.
All right, thank you, Kingsley. So we are going to go ahead and watch Kingsley's before video, right? I think I have it somewhere here. Just bring it up. All right, everyone. So hopefully we see this. Everybody's able to see the screen and the sound. I just reshared it just for the sound, right? So let's go ahead. Hi, Kingsley. How are you doing? Yes. Hey, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. My other meeting just kept dragging on.
Oh no, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Like I was holding it. Yeah.
I'm tracking your meeting too. So, like, how have you been doing so far in the course and the internship? How is it going?
I haven't been getting a lot of calls, so I'm still trying. I'm still putting in my applications, tweaking my resume around.
So what is your time looking at? Like, I'm gonna do like a special session with probably two other students. I'll add you to it.
Okay.
Okay. That way, like, we will look at. We are looking at Friday, but I'll confirm the time.
Okay.
If it's possible, let me know, and we will like record that as well. So if you wouldn't be able to make it, we will still give you the video.
Okay, yeah, because I'm still juggling work, and
yes,
we got a lot of releases coming out from prison, so we're doing a lot of intakes. So that's why sometimes I'm like, I can be listening in, but I can't, you know, focus.
Really participate and,
yeah.
I totally get it. So, like the job that you are applying for, mostly. Can you give me like a little insight into it? Is it like jobs that require 10 years of experience or jobs that?
I'm basically looking around. I try to juggle it around entry level, 3-5 years experience. I'm just looking at everything. So I didn't want to tie myself down to one area, and then that would be a reason why I'm not getting calls.
Okay. All right. So I think like when we do like that session, I'll redirect you guys and then repoint, because mostly. So like, were you getting calls previously, and now like the calls?
No, I'm not getting calls. I put in my applications. All I get is, we're moving on with another candidate.
Oh, okay. So like you're getting that a lot.
Yes.
Okay, and they are not pushing you to like interviews. Okay.
No.
So I think like that will just have to do with fine tuning like the resume, like tailoring it more. So we will discuss and do like a case study. So
okay,
we will share Zoom like this. We will go through like what they've listed. We will look at your resume. Okay, what should you add to it? Yes, how do you tweak it? So I think when we do one or two, you're really gonna get it, and then when you see other ones, you know what to look for. And I think like, because mostly like when that happens, we just have to fine tune it. fine tune it,
Yeah.
because for them to even like maybe move you from one stage to the other, or even say, okay, we are moving on, it means you are doing something right. We just have to fine tune it.
Okay.
So if like you are not getting any hits at all, nobody is even calling you for.
No, I'm getting a few ones saying they moved on with somebody else.
Yes. So we just have to tweak it. And then when you do get the interview too, now we will try and, because I think with you, we've just been doing audio. I've not really spoken to you one-on-one as to, okay, tell me about yourself. For you to say it, for me to say, no, let's take that out, let's add that. So we will do all that as well.
Okay.
We will do all that as well. So I think,
all right.
And so far, is the internship helping you?
Oh yes, a lot, especially with hands-on, because I try to be at every meeting and contribute as much as I can. So I'm also learning from the other members in the class. Yes, it's helping me a lot. So it's making me more focused, knowing what area to concentrate on. So veering more towards the compliance and risk management area.
Okay. I mean,
yeah, it's helping a lot.
Yes, that was the intent, to help our students and give you guys a bigger picture, and really let you know what is really going on, on the ground, and what is really were you in last week's meeting, when I showed the proposal for a contract that has to do with the
No, I was in the class.
Oh, okay. So
yes,
I showed the class. I mean, I like to take you guys back behind the scenes, so there's a contract that we are applying for. And in the contract is one government agency that we will use the cybersecurity framework, the NIST cybersecurity framework. We will do an assessment on what they have, just like what you guys did. So what you guys did in the internship, at the beginning when you were doing the trying to gather information,
find out their assets.
Yes, and then doing the baseline and then using the cybersecurity framework. That is what this contract is about. So the company that will win it, that is what they are going to be doing.
Okay, just like what we're doing.
Just I showed it to the class for them to know that what you guys are doing is not BS.
I think I saw it in the video.
Yes, what you guys are doing is not BS. This is actual stuff. So if let's say right now I take a Kingsley up as a cybersecurity analyst who is going to work on that project, guess what you're going to be doing?
Same thing.
And guess how long that contract is for? 5 years.
Oh jeez.
So if the jobs you're applying for, that is where they got the jobs. So there are companies like us who have applied for these contracts and they won. Now they are looking for
people to hire to do the job.
So if you go to an interview and they're asking you about, do you know how to apply the next cybersecurity framework? Did that last week. So that is the intent, and I just wanted to use that as a motivation for people to see, because sometimes people just think if you are not, using Nexus or Nmap to scan something or then you are not doing cybersecurity. That is you going to the construction site and saying if you are not hitting something on the nail or you are not the one painting,
so driving the tractor.
Yes, you are not working. But the guy who is managing everybody, what do you think he's doing? It's his heart is more important than the ones who are hitting the nail on the head,
True.
Because that is too easy. You can teach a monkey to do that and they'll be able to do that. You can't teach a monkey to think.
To think and be able to lead people.
Yes, to talk to people and see, okay, so Kingsley is not coming today. Who am I going to put there? Who is the best fit? And how do I apply this? How do I apply this framework? How do I put this structure in place? So if you don't have a better understanding of it, you wouldn't really be able to be as efficient, even if you want to just hit nails the whole day.
Can't be that efficient.
Yes. So I mean, we are giving you guys, everything a bigger picture for you to be able to, function in any session in any area. So one thing that. All right. So I think this kind of gives us some background into, some of the struggles Kingsley was having when, you know, he started off, and when we were almost done with the internship, I think. So now I'm going to leave the floor to Sheila, and Sheila can go through and ask Kingsley some of the questions that maybe most of us might have, and then we open the floor for everybody to also ask their question and pick Kingsley's brain. So everything is on the table. So how he, like his whole entire journey, right, and up to what he's doing now, what he's doing on a daily basis, to give us some really good insights. And for other folks who are already in security or those who are not in security, everybody is going to benefit from this and pick something from it, right? So Sheila, the floor is yours. You can.
Thank you. Thank you, boss. It's amazing, Kingsley. I applaud you. You were caught on camera, though. Be careful next time. So this was recorded like back in 2022. I'll ask you more about that, how you were able to persevere. But let's start from here. So you already, I think we already have got an idea of why we are here. Dr. Edu has explained. Our goal here is to allow Kingsley to walk us through his journey to becoming a cybersecurity professional now. Hopefully to be able to motivate somebody on here. So Kingsley, I know you said we've already clarified that you were in corrections before this, right?
Yeah.
So why did you decide to switch career? Could you explain why you decided to change and move on to cybersecurity?
Yes. Thank you, Sheila. Nice to see you again. Switching to cybersecurity was something that even while I was doing my job, like Dr. Edu said, one of the PCI DSS class, why do people want to rob a bank? Because that's where the money is. And so the job I was doing was a job that I had a title. I have a big title, but the money is not there. You're influencing people, you're doing a lot, but the money is not there. The time is not there. My job is a job that you can't do from home. You have to be there on ground to do it. So that takes away from spending time with family, going on vacation, and doing all the things that make life a little more less stressful. So I decided I want to do something where I will have time to spend with my family and have the money to do that kind of thing. And of course, you have to look at the future. Do you want to work till you're 80, you're 90, you're still struggling, going to Walmart to be a greeter 80 years old? No, you want to do something for yourself where you're able to take care of yourself, take care of your family, and have a future.
That's the best reason. And your family, I'm sure your family is very grateful, including them in the decision making. That is great. So can you tell us or walk us through your how you started the process of switching from where you used to be to your current position right now? Where did you start? You know, let me say this. So there was a question one time on this line that somebody was asking if the people that we are interviewing, maybe some of them may have finished graduate school or have had a cybersecurity, going to college for it and then coming to take a course here. One thing that people don't understand is this environment that Dr. Edu has created, it fits a lot of people. So you can be coming from where you have taken a class somewhere and couldn't get a job and he's helping you. You can be coming from where you have gone to college and actually have the degree and still cannot get the hands-on. And so everybody fits here, or you could be somebody starting from the ground. So where do you fit, Kingsley?
So for me, it's a combination of different things. I do have a graduate degree in administration of justice and security. And that was one of the motivations. When I finished my graduate program, I did take a class in information security system security. So that class was basically all about cybersecurity. So that kind of motivated me to say, okay, I have finished this, but it's not giving me what I want where I am. So why don't I apply it in an area where it's going to be more useful? So I decided to take that single class to line it up with what I want to do. So I started doing, the first thing I did was to do a research, because prior to that class, my idea of cybersecurity was you have to be a computer guru. If you're not a computer guru, don't think about cybersecurity, which is the reason why I didn't even do my master's in cybersecurity. I thought I wasn't going to fit until I took that class. So it was there I find out that, okay, you don't really have to be a computer guru, just have an idea. Because of course you can't be cybersecurity without understanding the basics, which is why a few people I've spoken to outside of this class, I tell them, go and take the entry-level course in cybersecurity with Eretmis. So you understand, you have an idea of what is going on. Is this something you want to do? So you will get out of that illusion that you have to be a computer guru to be in cybersecurity. Go take that class, have a basic understanding of cybersecurity, and then you decide for yourself if you want to do it or not. So once I took that class and understood it, I like, okay, I'm ready for this. So, and then find out about the internship. If you ask Dr. Adu, will tell you, I was on his neck every day. When are we starting the internship? When are we doing this? And as soon as I find out, I signed up for that class.
Great, great. That's interesting. It's interesting that the class that you just end up taking is the one that actually directed you here. So it's interesting. There's so many cybersecurity programs out there. Like I said, at college or wherever you will find it. But I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Kinsley. Yes, there's so many programs out there. So many boot camps. I for once know I have had my share. So how did you know that this is the right boot camp for you, or this is the right program for you? How did you come about doing your research? I know you mentioned something about researching. How did you research? How did you decide? It's a very difficult step to take and an investment to make in your life, but put it in the wrong place, it can cause a lot of problems. So how did you know that this is actually the right place, that you need the training that you want?
Well, one of the first things I look at was the background of the people running the training. Coincidentally, I graduated from University of Phoenix, like Dr. Adu, where he did his doctoral program, I believe. So I saw his background, I saw where he's coming from. And what he has in his background is not something you're just going to pick from anywhere and put in your background. Where in the US, everything is verifiable. So I saw his background, I saw, okay, this person with his background should know what he's doing. And I reached out, and after we talked, I saw that, okay, Dr. Adu and his people and the Eretmis Academy seem like something that they're not selling air, like Dr. Adu always say. They know what they are doing. So I signed up and joined the class.
Dr. Adu has had his background checked a lot. My goodness. I did the same thing. So you don't have a lot of cybersecurity background, as you have made it clear. You've done a lot of research to see that, okay, this is the class for you. But how do you decide that even the curriculum that is being offered, or that is going to be given to you at Eretmis, it's what is actually going to help you achieve your goal?
One of the things I do in life is when I want something, I take a risk. You cannot succeed in life without taking a risk. There is something I do. When I decide I'm going to spend money on this, I take that money and I see it as what I have spent. Worst case scenario, I don't get anything out of it, but it's a risk worth taking. So I just decided, first and foremost, I look at the entry-level course, it's free. I'm like, what could go wrong? I'll take it. And after taking the entry-level course and I see the level of knowledge that I gained from it, I decided I'm going to go with curriculum and see what it brings on.
Okay. I've seen this question many times, and I have heard it many times. People will ask, you know, when you're going to college, at least they tell you this is a 2-year degree. And so you know for sure by 2 years you are done. Or when you start the semester, you know by this number of months, the semester is over. In this case, you're starting this class. How did you strategize? Because this is something that you have to plan and take these classes yourself and decide when you're going to finish. How did you strategize to be able to determine when you are done? What is the milestone? What was the timeline in terms of when you started to when you completed the class?
For me, I didn't have a timeline. My timeline was until I get a job. I'm not going to stop. Because again, it boils down to one thing. How badly do you want this? And so would I allow time stop me or hold me back, or looking at when I'm going to finish this class? If I sat through an 18-month program to get a master's degree, I don't think this was going to be a challenge. So I told myself, I don't care how long it takes me until I get what I want. I'm not going to take my eyes off the target. So it wasn't a timeline issue for me. I was just studying. I was just doing what I was doing until I hit the mark.
Okay. So the entry-level class itself, how long did it take you to finish the entry-level class before you started the internship? Do you remember?
I actually did that class in 2 weeks.
Huh?
But it was recorded. It was every day for me. Every minute I had, I'm on it. It took me 2 weeks to finish the class. That's how desperate I was. Because I have a tendency to just abandon if I don't go with it. If I did it for 3 days, 4 days, I'm going to start next week, I'm going to start next month, I might just abandon it. So my 2 weeks was, I'm going after this. I put my 2 weeks in, started doing it, and I got it done. Because it's all recorded, so you control the time.
Okay, there you have it. Because this question has come up many times. So guys, you're hearing it. It can be done. I'm sorry. It can be done in 2 weeks, as Kinsley is saying. It can be done in a month. It can, I've honestly, this is the first time. So I applaud you. It's possible. It's all depending on the individual. So great job. I'm sure you have a family. You did mention you have a family that you put them in the consideration of deciding why you switched. So how did you combine these 2 weeks that you took the class? You didn't quit your job, did you? Or did you, how did you combine your family time, your work, everything else, and be able to get the class done?
In that 2 weeks, it became my priority. Everything else waits until I was done with that class. Everything else stops because I was desperate. I mean, not desperate in a bad way, but desperate to. You see, until you get tired of the situation you're in, you're not going to be pushed to want to move away from it.
Yeah. You're
not going to be pushed to move away from your comfort zone until you become uncomfortable with that situation. So for me, that's what it was. I was uncomfortable. Dr. Adu will tell you how many times I'm like, do you have an internship I can get into? I just want to get out of this place and get into cybersecurity. Wow. So for me, it was desperation to get it done, put everything aside and face it.
Amazing. Amazing. Your zeal, it's impeccable. So how well did you think your cybersecurity training, so currently with the job that you're doing now, how well do you think your cybersecurity training, the one that you got, has actually prepared you for your current role?
I'm going to tell you something. One of the guys that interviewed me coincidentally happened to be my direct manager. And he said, while we're talking after I got into the job, he said, I had people on the interview that had crazy technical knowledge higher than you had. He said, but your soft skills was what actually brought you in. So the training we're doing with Dr. Adu, it's a whole package. Because people just look at the technical side of it. Once I get technical, it's fine. If you go there with a bad attitude, you cannot work with other people, you're not going to get the job. Because when they interview, they're watching everything. They're watching your demeanor, they're watching your behavior, they're watching how you answer the question. They're looking at how you're going to be able to collaborate, because you're not working in isolation. You're going to be working in a team. And if you don't have those soft skills that stand you out in a team, you can have all the technical knowledge, answer all the questions, and yet they tell you we'll get back to you. Of course, they never do. So this training prepared me for what I'm doing right now. The way prepared me in my job, in my current job, everything I'm doing, I give it back to this training. Whatever we're doing here, people, it's not just a matter of Dr. Adu bringing everybody together, let's just talk and go home. It's you logging in here, you being able to work in a project with other people. That's all you need that very seriously.
Great. So the $100 million question is what I'm going to be asking you now. We have met with so many different people that landed their job in so many different ways. I, for once, landed my job, my first interview. We have had somebody that landed a job that didn't go for his interview. He didn't do an interview, but he actually acted his interview on the job to get the job. Some people went for like over 20 interviews and so forth. How did you land your job? What is the process?
Well, I did a bunch. I did a bunch of interviews, but for me, every interview was a learning process. So when I go to an interview and they ask me a question, and I know that I didn't do well in that question, I write it down. If you ask me what is encryption, and all I could just tell you is encryption is hiding information, I know for myself that I haven't done well. So as soon as I leave that interview, I'm going to go back and study about encryption and know everything that I can know about encryption. So that the next time I am asked that question, I am going to be speaking that language in such a way they will understand that this person knows what he's talking about. So when you go for an interview, and after the interview, you know within yourself if you're going to get that job or not, half of the time. Because you know how you did, you know how you answered your questions. You know where you were struggling. So I took out those questions that I'm struggling with, go back and work on them. And so when I had the interview that landed me this job, it was more like an interaction. There's a group I belong where we're listening on interviews with each other. I have a few friends in cybersecurity. When you have an interview, we all go on Skype and everybody can listen on the interview. And when we finished the interview, the guy leading us actually called me and said, how long have you been doing cybersecurity? I said, I haven't worked in cybersecurity except for the trainings I had. He's like, where did you get your training? I said, Eretmis. He's like, I like to know about them. Because he was listening and he saw the way I was responding to the questions. So I did the interview, and then the third day, the recruiter called me and said, it looks like it's very hopeful. That they said they are hiring 2 and you're top 2 right now. There are over 20 people interviewing for the job, but they say you're top 2. So it looks like it's hopeful. And I can tell you that I was very confident because I knew how I did in that interview. I wasn't struggling. There were questions I was asked and I answered, and the guy said, that's the same perspective I have on that. Like when he asked me about cloud computing, I was telling him about how I don't like cloud computing because of the multi-tenancy kind of arrangement. It was like, that's the same problem I have with cloud computing. So we were basically like discussing. And so I wasn't surprised when I got the offer. Compared to the other interviews I've had in the past, like I said, there are questions I was struggling with. But during this interview, it wasn't like there was no stride. I didn't have that struggle. Why? Because I've gone to look, the questions are similar. almost every interview you go, the questions are similar. You just need to understand what you're struggling with and make it your focus.
That's a very good advice, guys. I think that is a very good advice he's given. The more interviews you go, the more prepared you become. Dr. Du has always said it's the better you become for the actual one that you're going to get the job. And that's what has happened. That's what Kinsley's saying. So it's amazing. Kinsley, this question. So I've always given an example of if you have said that you've done this job before and somebody asks you, so when you come to work in the morning or when you come to work, what do you do? An example is if you say you are a nurse, you have been a nurse before, and they ask you, so when you come to the hospital or a nursing home, assisted living or whatever, when you come in, what do you do? And then you say, oh, I just go and pick up the mop and I'll start to mop the office and I'll gather the books and all that. Everybody will know that you are BS and you have no idea what you're talking about. So what do you do? Can you walk us through your day as a cybersecurity analyst currently? What do you do? How do you start your day?
Yeah, so the first thing I do when I get is to look at my calendar and see what meetings we had. We have our morning meetings where we reviewed things that have happened and what we're doing for the week. So my job right now is not like a generalist job. I have my apps that I work on and I work at my own pace. So I get into the office in the morning. First thing I do is to look at my apps and see which has been prioritized and need to be completed as soon as possible. So I'm gonna look at that app, look at the other tools we use, see if it already has a characterization in Excel. If it doesn't, I have to start that characterization afresh. So once I'm done with the characterization, gathering information from app one, Spark and all the other things, I now have to set up a meeting with the SME to validate that information that I've picked up from everywhere, because some of the information may not be current. So I set up that meeting, and once that meeting is done, I would, save that Excel, and then go load it into IBM Open Pages, which is the current information security evaluation tool we're using. So my day is not a typical day. Aside the meetings, you work at your own pace. So all my apps, the one I have currently now ends on June 30th, because it's the second quarter. So that's all they want to. As long as you deliver before the end of the quarter, you work at your own pace.
Okay. Very interesting. You did mention soft skills when you were talking about when you were going through your interviews. Right now, what are some of the non-technical skills that that have helped you or that has been helpful on your job right now?
One of them also is collaboration.
Okay.
Because your collaboration, your communication skills are very, very key. These SMEs that I talk about don't work for me. They don't work for my department. But I have to find a way to be able to relate with them so that we're on the same page. So it's very, very key how you talk to them, how you reach out to them. If you're going to reach out like you're instructing them, you're probably not going to get anything from them. But hey, exchange pleasantries, hey, we're doing this, we're trying to move this from here to here. And you're listed as the technical manager for this app, so I'm gonna need your input to do this. When are you available? I give them the opportunity to give me the time, because I could set up the meeting and just put time, but I don't control their time. They have their own time. So I try to be nice about it to ask when they're available. And when you put it out like that, they feel like, okay, this person has respect for me, is asking me to set the time. So we set the time and we get it. So communication, your collaboration skills, you're being able to work with other people, understanding the diversity. In times, I have people in India, I have to be respectful of their time because there's so much time difference. So all of that comes into play. when it comes to doing the job.
Okay. So you need to be considerate of your coworkers and all that. That's very true. And it cuts across too. So before we started the interview, you were explaining why you decided to shift. Your family, the money, and whatnot. There's a few lists that you gave. So here you are now. Have you achieved that goal? Have you gotten to where you want to be? Are you satisfied? Did you meet all these things that you list that you are hoping to switch to be able to get this and this and that? Did you get there?
Yes, of course, not all of them. Satisfaction is relative. But starting with the timing, started with spending more time with family, talking about money. Yes, I'm already on the track of what I set for myself. So in terms of what I was doing versus what I'm doing right now, I'm satisfied. But the big thing for me is the job satisfaction. When you're going to work and you're not happy, when it's getting to time for you to go to work, you're like, oh God, do I have to go? Then there's a problem. But when you're going to work and you're excited, looking forward to what the day is going to bring, then I can look at that and say, yes, I'm satisfied. So I'm happy where I am right now. Of course, it's going to get better, but I'm satisfied where I am right now.
Good. And how's the money? As compared to
any job that is 6 figures is a good money.
Awesome. That's it. That sums it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for you. One extra question.
Yeah.
So when Dr. Du caught you on camera, it was back in February. And at that time, you had even started applying. And from that up till now, before you actually landed this job, how were you able to persevere? I hear a lot of people, you put your application in, you get, no, we are not going to give you the job, you're moving on to somebody. It kind of sometimes kill your enthusiasm and your zeal. So how were you able to withstand this and keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you actually landed it now? I think I would like to know.
If I check my email, I do not have a single of those responses. Once the response comes, I delete it because I don't want to look at it and let it be a setback to me. Okay. I delete it and I move on. Of course, I'm not expecting to get a job from every interview. But once I get that response, or even from an interview, or we're moving with somebody else, I just delete it. And as I'm deleting from my email, I'm deleting from my mind because I have a target. So I'm not going to let anything hold me back. When I look at that email, I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to get a job. No, it's just one opportunity that passed. Another one is in front of me. I look forward to the next one. But I learned a lesson from it. What could possibly be wrong? Why are they moving on to somebody else? What is not in my resume? What am I doing wrong? And that's the lesson I want to learn quickly. If these people are saying we're moving on to somebody else, what did this person do differently that I have to do? And so I start to question myself. I start to look back at myself, look at my resume. If it's an interview, I look at how I responded at that interview. There was one that actually came and I was talking to a recruiter and the guy said one of the things they didn't like was that I did the interview from my car. And I'm going to tell you why. I set a time with them. I left the office very early and got stuck in traffic on the freeway. And I said, no, I'm not going to give excuses. Trying to be the nice person, not to give excuses, not to be a reason why I'm not getting a job. I said, I'm going to do it in my car. And that pissed them off. But again, it depends on individuals. And I said, well, I think that's not my job. That's why. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter where I did the interview. I did it in my car, but I gave you what you wanted. So why should that be a reason? But again, that's up to them. I'm not going to decide how somebody is going to react. I decide how I react to it. So I'm like, okay, next one. So you got to be psychologically prepared for the things they're going to throw at you. You're going to go to interviews, and I had a friend walk out of an interview because they told him the job was not a technical job, but he got there, they're bombarding him with all these technical questions. Like, you know what, I'm done, bye, and he walked away. So it depends on you as an individual to decide how you want to react, what you want to do.
Right. You are very strong. You have a very strong personality, and that's good. I think you have actually explained it all, but any last words, any advice, any form of encouragement? Like Dr. Edu said, it's Friday. People can be anywhere else, but they came here to listen to you and to get something out of this. So advise the people.
Again, one of the things I'm going to say, excuse me, and I told Dr. Adu this, is about certifications. Somebody had actually asked in the chat. I do not have a single certification.
Wow.
I don't. And that's not to say it's wrong to get certifications. The friend that I told you walked out of an interview has 8 different certifications, but he still can't keep a job. Why? Because he went to a boot camp, did whatever he did, got all the certifications. But the question is, do you speak the language of cybersecurity? Like Dr. Adu will always say, do you speak the language? Nobody's interviewing you and tell you, hey, bring all your certificates, let's see how many certifications you have. They will get you interviews because it's stated in the job description. But do you understand the language? You have 8 certifications. And I was talking to him, and we're talking about risk analysis. And this guy can't even explain properly what risk analysis is all about. But he has a certificate. And I'm not disputing, I'm not trying to look down on certifications. They are very important. I'm going to get some myself. But don't let certifications tie you down. But like Dr. Adu always said, there are people out there selling air. And they tell you once you have this certification, you'll get a job the next day. Certification is not the job. It is the internship we did is the background of whatever I'm doing today. As soon as we're done with that internship, it laid the foundation for me to say, okay, I don't think there's anything different these guys are doing that I can't do. I just need to develop myself. And whatever Dr. Adu is teaching us here, add to it. Don't sit there and say, okay, Dr. Adu just gave us this. Oh yeah, I'm going to find a job next day. Go out and study. There was a time that I'm going to work every morning. I'm playing YouTube videos on my car, going to work, listening to interviews, listening to advice. And I'm very selective on who I listen to. There's a lot of garbage out there on air that they would tell you this, tell you that. Once you take this certification, you're done. You're going to get a job the next day. We have 97% chances of pass. Of course, you're going to pass. They're making money. That's what they want to tell you. But it's not a bad thing to have certifications. And then when you write a resume, don't put things in your resume that you cannot defend. Because when you go to the interview, half of the time they question you from your resume. You said you've done all of this great stuff, but they're asking you or moping. They're going to look at you twice like, does this guy even know what he's talking about? But whatever you put in your resume, make sure you understand. If you don't understand, go and read it and have an understanding for you to be able to get what you want. Technical things you put there, make sure you go back and look at them. If you say you're the one installing firewalls in the whole of US, make sure you can when the chips are down, because they're going to ask you. So once you get all of that fixed, keep tweaking your resume until you start getting interviews. Like, again, Dr. Adu said, I had to start picking things from job description to put in my resume. But whatever I put there, I'm making sure that it's something I can defend. I'm not just going to say I'm a GROC specialist, but I can't even explain what GROC is. Because if they ask me, then I'm going to be looking at them like a moron. But I have it in my resume that I'm a GRC specialist. So all of those things, make sure whatever you put in your resume aligns with your level of knowledge. Of course, no one expects you to have the whole knowledge. Cybersecurity is very wide. It's huge. So no one expects you to have all the knowledge, but at least have a basic understanding of each area. You cannot succeed in cybersecurity without knowing anything about networking. There's no two ways about it. Everything we're doing in cybersecurity boils down to networking. If you don't have, at least you're not expected to be a network specialist, but at least have a basic understanding. So when somebody asks you about network, you know. Somebody asks you where to put your firewall in an outside facing network, where are you going to put it? Or inside, where are you going to put it? You should be able to explain it. You, of course, they're not expecting you to be the one that is going to install the firewalls and do all of that. A simple network diagram, you can't explain it. That's cybersecurity. That's what we're talking about. So whatever you put in your resume, make sure you understand it and read, and read. Study, keep studying. Don't just sit down and say, whatever Dr. Adu has given us, that's how I'm going to get a job. Keep developing yourself until you hit that mark.
All right, there you have it, guys. Thank you, Kinsley. Thank you. That was deep. Thank you. I think that we can take questions. Dr. Edu, what do you think?
Yes, so there were some questions in the chat, and if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, please raise your virtual hand and we will give you the floor. So somebody was asking Kinsley, how many interviews did you take before you finally landed a job?
I'll probably say about 20 interviews at different places. But that's about it. But like I said, I learned from every one of them. I'm actually, the interview that landed me this job, they sent me an email on Monday telling me that I'm scheduled for an interview on Tuesday. In all honesty, I was going to turn it down because I'm like, I'm not even you're telling me on Monday that I have an interview on Tuesday. But my motivation is what could go wrong? Worst case scenario, I do the interview and I don't get the job.
Right.
So I called the guy back immediately. I said, yeah, I set it up. It's fine. It's like, it's going to be at 2 p.m. I just set it up. What could go wrong? I do the interview, I don't get the job. But it's a learning point for me. So it's how prepared you are for that interview. How, like I said, keep developing yourself outside of this class, outside of the internship, outside of everything. Whatever we're learning here is a foundation. Dr. Adu built, because think about how many people Dr. Adu have to teach. How many of us come into this class? You're not going to get 100% of everything, but whatever you get, let it form the foundation of you starting and adding on it. Whatever knowledge you can get, it's not out of place.
All right, thank you, Kinsley. And I think also, okay, Abu was asking if you took the PCI DSS. So Kinsley took the entry-level course and he did the internship. And, you know, that is how he got prepped for, and plus, you know, you don't have to sleep on that. You have to continuously be learning and improving yourselves. But my question to you, Kinsley, is, you know, before we started, for folks who came in a bit late, I was playing a video, you know, where we had one-on-one session with Kinsley discussing the job placement process. You know, he was applying for jobs, not getting response and stuff like that. And we're talking about tweaking your resume. And so can you walk us through, you know, because in this process it's kind of an up and down battle, right? Like you are going to go up with a lot of, you know, with a lot of recruiters reaching back to you, you're trying to do interviews, and then sometimes it'll just go off, right? Like they just turned everything off. You don't hear from anybody. You apply for jobs with the same resume and it's not working. How do you battle that? How did you go about your tweaking or switching up, you know, or spicing up your resume to make it really, you know, catch the attention of recruiters?
Yeah, one of the things I did was looking at different job descriptions. Because I remember Dr. Adu mentioned that, of course, now no recruiter sits there and is scanning through your resume by hand. They just run it through a system, and if it's not picked, it's not picked. So what I did was to start, and most of them picked those job description to put in there. So I picked from those job descriptions to put on my resume. And of course, you don't want to put a million things on your resume. So I picked a few ones from here, from there, and matched them up and put them in my resume. And once I start getting interviews, I knew, okay, now I have the right resume. So I started using that. And then, of course, sometimes you just don't hear anything from anybody. All I did was keep applying, whether I'm hearing from anybody or not. And I remember Dr. Adu had me the first time, we was like, how many applications do you do in a week? I said like 4 or 5. It's like, you've not started. And so when I went through to the job placement assistant program, I saw that you need to apply for like, what, 24 jobs a day or thereabout. So I started just applying. I went on LinkedIn, I went on Indeed, and especially those easy to apply jobs. I already put my resume in there, so I'm just applying to them nonstop.
All right, Kingsley. And my next question before we give the floor to everybody else is, how long did it take you your whole entire journey from, hey, I want to switch, to cybersecurity, going through the training? Like, let's say after the training, after the internship, how long did it take you, aside the number of interviews, how long did it take you for you to land the job?
Almost a year, if not more. I think it's over a year, or maybe a year or thereabout.
All right. So
because I kept going, and from the rest, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. So almost a year, because the interview that we did was in February of 2022, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like a year and change. And so somebody was asking your job title.
I started in February.
Yeah, in February. Okay, so then it's almost like a year on.
About a year.
On the dot, right? So somebody was asking for your job title. I think they joined a bit late.
Yeah, I'm a senior information security analyst.
Okay, and Linda was asking, did you complete the 10 modules of the entry-level course in 2 weeks? If yes, did you complete all assignments with good grades? Right. Was
yes,
just
I did.
Wondering,
no, like I said, it was desperation. Like I said, it was desperation for me. I want to do it, get it over with. Because if I stopped, I won't continue.
All right, and Eva is asking, did you make up cybersecurity work experience on your resume for this particular job that you have now? So before Kingsley even comes in, right? For us at Eretmis, this is what we do. For our students, you are not just going to put anything on your resume that, things that you've not done, right? So that is why we do the internships. And the internships are project-based, right? So you don't need to have been working in cybersecurity for 300 years to have a list of things that you've done, right? We can do a 2 months internship, 3 months, and we are going to work on probably 10 projects, which out of which somebody who's been in security for even 5 years wouldn't have worked on 3, right? Because you can be in a spot and all you'll be doing is just one thing that you're doing over and over and over and over again, right? So we expose you to so many projects that you are going to work on. So that is what you're going to be putting on your resume, right? And then also in terms of years of experience, right? Now you've done these projects that is probably going to take somebody years to do, but we are not morons. We're not going to say the project that you did in 2 weeks equates to 5 years or 10 years of experience. But what is going to help you with the years of experience is your soft skills as well. So everybody is bringing in some skills from wherever you are coming from, right? And like Kingsley rightly said, he said on his interview, his manager who interviewed him told him, hey, when it comes to technical side, you were not, top of the top. But then what really made you beat everybody else who was very high on the technical side was your soft skills. And Kingsley's soft skills was not just predominantly from us. Most of it was from the job that he was doing and what he's gone through in life, right? So if you are coming in with maybe 10 years of managerial skills, I think that together with the projects we are working on, we can fairly say, if we are gauging it and trying to, put it all together, at least from entry level 0 to 3 to 5 years of experience, you fit in there, because not just us making stuff up. When you look at the job descriptions, right, what they are looking for, aside going through your technical skills, okay, we need somebody, who can do A, B, C, D in the technical side. Right underneath that, they'll have at least 5 or 6 soft skills that they are going to list. You need to be, good communication skills, good written and oral, the communication skills. You have to be able to collaborate with people, critical thinking, right? If all those were not part of the experience they were looking for, why would they list it on there, right? You're not just listing it because they don't have anything to put on there. And don't take my word for it, right? You can research or look around for cybersecurity jobs, look at the job descriptions. If you don't see any soft skills in there, come back, I'll give you $100. There's some in there, a lot. And some jobs you even see, if they have 10 skills listed that they are looking for, sometimes 6 out of them will be just soft skills. And only 3 will be, or 4 will be technical skills, right? So for those who are not very technical heavy, when you are picking your jobs, you have to really, look at the job description. If it's heavy on the soft skills, which you are bringing to the table, go for those ones instead of a job that probably is just fully technical. You just need maybe 2 or 3 soft skills that is on there, right? So picking the jobs also will determine how soon or how quick you are going to land a job, right? So now I'm going to leave the floor to everybody else. Leonard is going to go, and then Kofi is going to go. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Sheila.
Please. When you mentioned tools, I think that there was one question about tools that I didn't ask Kinsley. I was
Okay.
meaning to ask him about tools. See, everybody working on cybersecurity has different, some of them is similar. You might end up using a tool that somebody uses,
Different.
but what tools are you using currently?
So like I said, one of the ones I'm using is the information security evaluation tool that is proprietary to the company.
Okay.
So, but when we take that information, we take it out from there to IBM Open. They just transition into IBM Open Pages now, where that same evaluation, it is the IBM Open Pages that will determine the criticality of that app, whether it's low, it's moderate or high. If it's low, we just close it out. The evaluation is done for the year. If it's moderate, now we have to go through a set of 150 questions with the SME to be able to determine, because it could appear high on Spark, where I'm coming from, but in Open Pages is a low, or it might even go higher than a moderate when we're done with those 150 set of questions. So IBM Open Pages is the primary tool right now that we're using, but they were using Spark for their evaluation before I came in. They're transitioning from that because they're closing it after 15 years. But there are other tools like if you want to raise a ticket, you go to ServiceNow. We have Trims. So there are a whole lot of other tools that they have. Some of them are proprietary to the company, some they're getting from outside.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
We use Active Directory to log in. If you're going to log into the system, you have to use Active Directory for you to be able to get into the system.
You do use Excel?
Of course, Excel is normal. That's where I do my characterization. Every characterization you do in Excel, yeah, of course, we use Excel. Okay. And some you have to use, if you're going to do a PowerPoint presentation, or of course, Word is everybody that has to use it. You have to be able to. So, yeah, those are just, I'm not even mentioning those Microsoft tools like Excel, Word, PowerPoint. Those are not just normal for everyday operations.
Right. Right. Thank you. Sorry, boss. Please go ahead. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Kinsley.
Hi.
Okay. Yeah. Sincerely, I appreciate your comments. I mean, it's awesome. But I wanted to ask, I know at some point in time, you must have been, second guessing yourself while looking for this particular opening. So at what point in time did your confidence level, increase?
So before I started the internship class, I had actually done a boot camp in data analytics. And then I went from there, I did another boot camp. I did another boot camp in Salesforce administration. So I have done a lot, but when I look at my background from law enforcement, and the fact that I worked in correction, I just opposed the positions. I looked at, okay, in corrections or cybersecurity, there's what we call defense in depth, which is using different layers of protection. And if you compare that to the prison, that's exactly what it is. But now you're doing it on air. At the prison, there are different layers of protection depending on the custody level, which talks about the infrastructure. We talk about the assets, the kind of assets you're protecting in prison. The custody level determines the level of protection you're going to put in each unit. There are units where it's just one gate, just open the gate, the offenders can go out and they're gone. There's another level where there are two gates, they pass this gate, they meet the next one. There's another level where they're inside their cell, there is a fence they have to cross after they come out of the cell, and there's another fence, and then they go out to the complex where you have microwaves and everything. So I looked at it, I said, okay, this experience I have from here, I can actually transfer it into cybersecurity. It's just that what I'm doing on physical security, I'm going to transfer it to the air. So the concept is the same. So that's why I actually said, okay, after taking class in Salesforce, taking class in data analytics, I'm like, this is not me. It's not working. I have to go back to what I'm familiar with, which is security. And when I did my master's, again, administration of justice and security. So I'm just revolving around security. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take my knowledge from here and transfer it to here and use it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Gary Delgro.
Thank you.
Collagen has been proven through.
All right, Kofi, go ahead.
Good evening, Kingsley. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joy. How are you doing?
Fine, fine, fine. So I'll just share a little story before I ask my question. It was very funny that when I saw Kingsley posted his new job on LinkedIn, I called him to congratulate him. And then in the process of us talking, I have 98% made up my mind to attend Eretmis Academy already. So then he mentioned where he did his program. I said, but I'm already almost trying to register there, you know. So I just want to share that. But Kingsley, my question is centered around what Sheila asked you about balancing your life with your work life with family. You said when you were taking the program, you were 100%. You put it forward and you abandon everything else. Didn't you get pushback from the family that there's no time from you and everything you are doing, you're just focusing here, you know? And with this type of work, we need to balance our work life. How can you expatiate on that?
Yeah, so what I said was I abandoned everything for that 2 weeks that I was doing the entry-level course. But of course, while I was doing the internship and all of that, I was still able to, of course, create time for the family. It's not a 24-hour thing. We're doing the internship twice a week, and they had to hold our meetings for our project and all of that. And I was working at the same time. But like I said, it boils down to one thing. How badly do you want this? You're sacrificing today for the family tomorrow to enjoy. That's the way I look at life. If I have something I can sacrifice today that will permanently settle my family tomorrow, I will plead with them to have understanding because they know where we're going with this. They see the struggle, they see where we are, they see how things are going. Do you want to continue in this for the rest of your life, or you want to sacrifice this 2-3 months for what is coming ahead? So you got to prioritize what matters to you. And of course, you have to get the buy-in of the family. I'm not just going to throw them in the dark and say, well, I don't care about you guys right now, I'm doing this. No, you have to still get a buy-in. We still created time, we still went out, still did our thing. But that was my priority, to move from that position to this position.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question, Kofi. Great question. So, Sheila, I think there were some questions in the chat. If you can help me out with that. I might just dumped all of it, like all of those questions. So if you could do me the honor.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay, let's see, maybe completed. Okay, I think we already asked that if you finished it in 2 weeks. Did you complete it or something? Okay. Can you share? It says, can you share? Ben is asking, can you share with the group, a group of friends interview forum info? Ben, what do you mean by that?
I think Kingsley was talking about his group that he has, where during interviews they all listen in to see how well you did and probably give you some critiques and also learn from it as well. So that is what he was asking for. So with this, I don't necessarily think it's only Kingsley's group that you have to necessarily get into. Probably they are like a group of friends, right?
Yeah, we're just friends.
So we have like the groups that we have for PCI, for for the entry level course and all those. We have like WhatsApp groups. Within the groups, you can form your own small groups where those who are ready to do interviews, you can do something like that, right? Where you listen, you give like critiques, and you're also learning from it, right? So I think, but still you can get with Kingsley offline, and probably he can hook you up with his group, and they can help you out. I think Nowhere also had like a group of friends like that who are also doing interviews and sharing interview knowledge like here and there. So I think that is what he was referring to about the group that Kingsley talked about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Isaac, I think Kingsley already mentioned the tools that he's using at work right now. It says complete. Many people cannot believe it that you completed it in 2 weeks. I keep seeing that.
I was working around the clock.
Wow. He says, how did you go, from early level? What kind of tools? He mentioned that already. Need to yes. Did you get your position where you left? Somebody is asking if you did have to relocate for your...
No, I didn't relocate.
Okay.
I didn't relocate. I'm still where I am.
Okay. Okay, and then did an interview. That when you were going for your interview, did they ask if you have any certificate? You said you don't have certificate. Ruth is asking if the interviewers not take into why they did they have any issue with the fact that you didn't have any certificate?
Nope, they didn't even talk about it. They already saw my resume, and I didn't put my resume that I have a certificate, so it didn't come. It wasn't a question.
I think you will have to repeat the tools again. That question is coming up. A few people didn't get the tools that you said you use. If you can do us a favor and repeat them again, please.
So like I said, the primary tool we're using right now is the IBM Open Pages, which we're transitioning into from Spark. They used to have Spark. They were using Spark for their information security evaluation tool. But now they're transitioning that to IBM Open Pages. But in the course of the job, I'll pick information from Spark. I pick information from App One. I pick information from those are basically where I pick my information. App One, Spark, and then move that into Open Pages. Of course, like I said, Excel, PowerPoint, Word, those are regular things that I use on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think that's all that I.
Okay, so I think Leonard.
And then somebody asked, how did you go from early level to senior security analyst? That was the job I applied for. That was what they gave me. I guess they saw my soft skills, they see where I'm coming from, and they look at my resume. Because like I reached out to Dr. Adu when I was applying, and Dr. Adu said, we can use the experience from Eretmis as part of your job. And I did put that in my resume. So they saw it, I applied for it, they gave me the job. I'm happy.
All right, so sorry, Sheila. So Kingsley, what I'm going to add to that is what most people don't get is in security, the higher you move up, they are looking more for soft skills than technical skills, right? So if you see somebody, he's a CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, it doesn't mean like he's a guy who can hack into everybody's system. He's a guy who knows how to manage and lead people, right? But you still have to have a good working knowledge of security, right? So don't be surprised if you have a very good foundation and you are coming in with a lot of soft skills, managerial leadership skills, and you are able to land a senior role, or you're able to land like a high mid-level role, right? Because at that point, it's kind of like almost 60–70% of your soft skills than your technical skills, right? Mostly where the technical skills is heavy is at the implementer level, like is at the lower mid-level or entry-level like positions. And even that, it depends on the role, right? So don't get too surprised if you just go into cybersecurity and you're able to hit a senior security analyst or something like that. You are coming in with a lot of soft skills. So if you know how to leverage the soft skills that you are bringing to the table, obviously you'll be able to hit those ranks as well. So Leonard, I think you had a question. Go ahead, and then we'll give Adrian and then Andy the floor.
Yeah, thanks. You just answered my question. I was about asking the same question. I mean, did you get the job as a senior security analyst, or you were promoted, from the ranks? But you gave a very you gave a very good response. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
You're welcome, Leonard. Adrian, go ahead. We cannot hear you, Adrian. I think you're unmuted, but for some reason you're still connected. All right, go ahead, Andy.
Hi, good evening. I have two questions. So my first question is, do you have any degrees in like networking or like computer science that kind of like acted like a substitute for you not having your any type of cybersecurity certificate? And my second question is for the tools. I have questions about the tools. So did you get some type of like orientation or like any like thing that kind of like walk you through how to use certain tools that you didn't know how to use when you got your job, or was just basically like just going based on what you knew before you got the job?
So in terms of education, I have a master's degree in special justice and security. I don't have anything related. Aside the class that I took in that master's class, I don't have any cybersecurity related degree. In terms of the tools, yes, of course, as soon as I got in, my first 2 weeks was training. They walk you through the tools, show you what they do and what you're going to be doing. So before the apps were assigned to me, so they walked me through it. And then there was a learning environment where you go in and practice those tools before you actually go into production in open pages. So more like a sandbox where you practice. So whatever mistakes you want to make, you make them there before you go into production in open IBM open pages.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Andy. Go ahead, Linda.
Thank you, Dr. Edu. This question is to you. There's a textbook listed under the entry-level course. Are we supposed to get that textbook, or we are okay with the downloading materials?
Yes, so get the textbook. So the textbook kind of will serve as the go-to, right? So you combine both, go through like the material that we've provided. Like that is a very summarized version of most of the topics, right? But like, for example, if you went through the networking class, when you go to the textbook and you focus on the networking chapter, it will also break it down further, and you'll see it from a different perspective, right? So in order just to build your understanding, yes, please get the textbook.
Thank you.
Aku and then Kofi will go. Go ahead, Aku.
My question is, so if we see like those job titles for the senior, we can apply for it?
Yes. So, but you have to look at the mostly job titles. They really don't mean anything. They are job titles, right? They have to put a title there for that job. So what I mean by they don't mean anything is you can be a senior cybersecurity analyst in one company, and the job you'll be doing will be the same thing somebody who is a cybersecurity analyst or like cybersecurity specialist in another company is doing. The same thing, right? So don't get carried away by the job titles. The most important is go through the job description. Is it something that you can do, right? If you can do almost 60% of what is listed on there, please go for it. And reason why I'm saying that is HR, what they do is they just do copy and paste. So if I'm HR right now, my company needs a senior cybersecurity analyst. I mean, I'm HR, I don't know what the senior cybersecurity analyst is supposed to do. So guess what I do? I go online, look at other job descriptions for senior cybersecurity analyst, copy and paste, right? Before you know, okay, because like I've had students who go through interviews and also for boards that I've sat on, where the interviewer is like, I didn't put it like, this is not what we are looking for. What the HR has listed is not what they are looking for, right? In the person who is going to do the interview. So that is why if for most of you, maybe if you've encountered this, you might see a job description, right? Go to an interview and it's like they switch up the job description on you. Now they're asking you something totally different from the job description. This is the reason why. HR just did copy and paste before they actually told him exactly, hey, this is what we all didn't do the due diligence of asking them exactly what skill set are you looking for this position. So they are just giving the title and then they just go with it, right? And sometimes they don't even tell them the title. Hey, I need a security person to come and do A, B, C, D, right? So you are HR, figure it out. And Kingsley, I think, said something on those lines. One of his friends who went to an interview thinking it was a non-technical job. Now they started asking me a lot of technical questions and he just walked out. Reason for that was that HR didn't really do their job well to get exactly what they were looking for in that role. Probably just copied and pasted something that was similar to that job description. And then guess what? You are going to be the other one at the end of the tunnel, right? Receiving the fire on that side. So if you go in such interviews and you are not well prepared, now you are thrown off guard. And two, there will be some jobs that will be very technical. So you are going in with all guns blazing for technical side. And they will be asking you questions like, okay, so Kingsley, you are like, if you're part of a team and somebody is not, pulling their weight in the team, what are you going to do about it? That is going to throw you off.
Actually,
throw you off
that my interview.
Yes.
It was one of my interview questions.
And for my experience and what I've seen, most people who don't get a job is the the soft skills part that is not going to let you get a job, not the technical part, right? You can be on like spotless for the technical part, but if you like questions like that, very simple and easy questions. So why did you choose the school that you went to? And you are there like, well, that is the school that all my family members went to. That means you didn't really put a lot of thoughts into going into that school. So critical thinking, they didn't really see critical thinking in that, right? So why did you move to Virginia? This looks like a very silly, cybersecurity question, but it's a cybersecurity question. Why did you move to Virginia from Texas? They want to look at your reasoning, your critical thinking. Now you're like, oh, Kingsley is my friend. He moved there and, we're family friends, so we all moved there. Really, right? So they want somebody who is really going to think and make decisions, and two, your decision making, they are looking at all that. So a lot goes into, interviews and also job titles, like I said. So mostly don't get hung up on the job title. Look at the job description. Hopefully HR, I mean, I'm kind of bashing them, but 80% to 80 to 90%, they are like a bit spot on, right? The 10% not so much sometimes. So job titles, look at what is really in that job title in terms of job description, right? That is the most important. So for senior roles and stuff like that, if you read through and okay, they are looking for people with good managerial leadership skills, you have that already from elsewhere, apply for it. All right, go ahead, Kofi.
So I'm back again, Kingsley. So my question is, I know Eretmis has prepared you, have given you the foundation for this current role that you are serving in your job. But what are some of the challenges on a day-to-day that you face with this new role? And also, what are your short-term goals with this company that you are in? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, day-to-day challenges, it's being able to gather your information. Some of them you have to really, really pay attention to details to be able to get information you want. They want to know if this app is hosted in the cloud, who's hosting it? Is it third party? Is it the company? Things like how many record counts does this app have? How many people get access into this app? Is it externally facing or internally facing? If you don't pay attention to details, you might not be able to get all of those information. So that's been one of the big challenges. So I have to really, really sit down, pull back, and read through everything to make sure that I'm able to get details of what I want before I go into production. Because it's almost like zero tolerance for errors in production. On the training side, you can make all your errors, but once you go into production, they expect perfection. They expect you to get all your acts together before you go in there. So it's one of the things I really had to go back to, paying attention to detail extremely to be able to make sure I get information before I go into production.
Okay. And then your goals, short-term goals?
Or short-term goals is to, just learn as much as I can. Just in case, maybe after the end of 1 year contract, I'm not with them. I have that knowledge to take elsewhere to get what I want. But long-term goal is to stay with the company because it's a good company, they have good benefits, and it's a good working environment where you're not working under tension, you're not stressed out. You just do your job. As long as you're delivering what is handed to you, they're not worried about you. So long-term goal is to stay with them. Short-term goal, learn as much as I can within the period that I have with them.
Do you have time for my last question? I lied. I thought I had two, but something came to mind as you were explaining your job role. So the last one is who validates your work, or who validates work on your team, cybersecurity work in your team? Who validates that? Who QA your job to make sure that it is good to go for production?
So after you put everything in, you send it. So my job at that point is an assessor. When I'm done, I send it to my lead assessor who has to review it and ensure that everything is in order before he accepts it to close it out, either as low or moderate and escalate.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Kofi. So my question to Kingsley is probably we didn't ask this. Are you working remotely or you are on site?
Right, I'm doing hybrid.
And what do you mean by hybrid?
I work 2 days in the office and 3 days from home. But the truth is that even being in the office, it's almost like working remotely because there's nobody. It's just an open cubicle. You log in anywhere you like, do your thing and get out. Half of the time, my manager is not even there. But because I chose hybrid, I want to be there, be on ground and see what is going on.
Okay. And like Sheila, I think probably asked this already, and we kind of have like a fair idea. You are making 6 figures. In your previous job, if you had to make 6 figures, how much overtime or how much work did you have to put in? And how much work are you doing like now in terms of hours?
Even with overtime, I was doing overtime every week. I'm out of that job. I still wasn't making what I'm making right now. I was putting in at least 15 to 20 hours of overtime every week. So, and here I am. My productive day is like 4 or 5 hours at the most at this current job. So I don't even have to do overtime. I have 8 hours of work, but productive hours, maybe like 4. The other time I just use this study, look at things and, just get better at what I'm doing.
Amazing.
All right, great.
Few more questions in the chat.
Okay, go ahead, Sheila.
So I think Kinsley already said this. Kwame, he elaborate more on how Eretmis training has helped him at his current job, right? He said everything he does is basically what he learned from here. Jamel said he sent you a private email, a private message if you've seen it. And then Christine wants to know that with the materials that you used or studied at Eretmis, is there anywhere else you got materials from to study in your preparation towards your current job? And if you would like to share.
Yeah, like I said, I watched YouTube videos every morning. And what I was basically looking at was interviews. I was looking at interviews and, brushing up. And then I do a lot of studies on LinkedIn. Every spare time I have, I'm doing one course or the other on LinkedIn, all on cybersecurity. So there are a lot of things out there where you don't have to, like LinkedIn, if you already had a free account, you don't have to pay a dime to take those courses. But sometimes they're not as detailed as what you're getting from Dr. Adu, because there are things they're not writing in there. But when you listen, you can ask Dr. Adu one-on-one questions. When you do those trainings, you don't have the opportunity to ask those one-on-one questions. So, but I just like to learn so I can be good at what I am doing. So there are a whole lot of things out there, LinkedIn, Coursera, YouTube, and then this set of friends that we quiz each other from time to time, we talk. Because again, there are questions I have that I might not be able to get to Dr. Adu because he's also busy, but I need to be able to have people I can talk to immediately. Of course, I still send some things to Dr. Adu before I do anything. But those guys, we kind of, check each other out. We study together. We look at things together. If anybody's having a challenge, we talk about it and see how we can all come together. So YouTube is there, LinkedIn, have a couple of friends that you can do things with.
Okay.
And of course, Eretmis, I'm part of this for life, like Sheila said. I told Dr. Adu, we are stuck with me.
A question from Lawrence. Lawrence wants to know, during the interview, did they ask you of your knowledge of the company that you were applying to? That question usually comes up. What do you know about the company that you are applying for?
Of course, before I went here, I knew from the job description that they're moving to open pages. I read about them, but they didn't ask me. But I knew what they were into. I know what they were doing.
Okay. Finsik, if I said your name wrong. Okay, go please. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Children. So Wadi Finsik is asking if you he said, did you land on your job? No, before you landed your job, did you put any cyber? So experience, I think Dr. Edu explained that. So he wants to know what experience you put on your resume before you landed this job. But I believe Dr. Edu talked extensively about that.
Yeah, and when you're done with your training, Dr. Adu will look at your resume and see what you're bringing to the table and see how it's blended into the job you're applying for. I think he mentioned that earlier on.
Yeah. Do you work with? Oh, okay. Jermaine is asking if you work for or work with a government agency.
No, it's a private agency. I work for West Fargo.
Oh yes, of course. Jude said he wants to be more than you when I grow up. That's good. Imposter syndrome is okay. I think that's it. I don't think Toad is a question. So I think that's all that I that's
Yeah,
it.
somebody was asking about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
I don't
Okay,
think
so I think I'll just jump in there with the imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, meaning like you feel like I really don't belong here, right? I just switch into cybersecurity and I'm at this spot, you know, like do I really deserve to be here? You know, am I up to the task? How do you overcome that?
Oh, that's what it means.
So like I said, I felt that in the beginning, which was why I had to do the data analytics class, because that's what a lot of friends around me were doing. And all of them were getting into it and it became a thing. I did the 6 months training, but I didn't feel fit. And then I did Salesforce administration boot camp. Again, it didn't feel like this is me. So again, you have to look at your background, where you coming from, what knowledge are you bringing to the table? And like I said, when I make a comparison with the job I was doing, working as a corrections officer and a supervisor, it kind of blends into cybersecurity. The only difference is that you're transferring from physical security to cybersecurity. The concept is the same. So whatever job you're at right now, try to make a comparative analysis of that job with cybersecurity and see similarities in the two jobs and see how you can blend that together.
And I think Dr. Edu has always said this. And before I started my job, there was one lady too that we interviewed before I started. And she always said it, that don't sell yourself short. When you think you don't know much, you realize that you actually do know a lot. And so we shouldn't sell ourselves short. So I think
All right, Kingsley. So yes, I think there is one question in here and then we'll go to Abu real quick. So we looked at, okay, imposter syndrome and then what else? So I think there was a question here about during your job search experience, what do you think about the whom you know factor? Did you know anybody at where you landed your job?
No idea. I don't know anybody.
Okay.
I don't even know anybody that works there. No idea.
Okay.
I think it's just, again, like I said, what you're bringing to the table. It's important to learn the language of cybersecurity if you want to be in this field. It is the language they're looking for. Like somebody was asking, they didn't ask me about certification. They didn't ask me about any of those. They just keep bringing the questions and I'm answering the questions. And there was actually a question I answered and the guy said, you just answered my next two questions. So I'm going to skip to the third one. So do you speak the language? Do you understand what they're asking you? Do you feel like you know what you're doing? Because like, again, I think Dr. Adu showed it on one of the other places I was studying. If you just answer questions, like they ask you what's encryption, you just say encryption is this. They know that. They want to know whether you understand the depth of encryption. How are you able to explain? What type of encryption do you know? How do you know? What more do you know about? They want to hear that explanation. And the moment they see that you're able to explain, they're like, okay, this person knows what he's talking about. But if you're just answering, have you ever had a situation where, somebody was not performing on the team? How did you handle it? Oh yeah, there was a time like that and we just fired the person. They want to know how you're able to explain. Because they're looking at your critical thinking skills. It's not just about what you're bringing. They want to see, are you able to think outside of the box? So there are a whole lot of questions that, like Dr. Adu said, they ask you, why did you choose to come to Arizona? If they know you're in Arizona, they know you had a reason why you came. But are you able to explain to them, did you just move before somebody moved? You saw a friend who was living in Texas and said, I'm going to Arizona, you just follow them. So you don't have a plan of your own, you don't have a destination of your own. They're looking at you, they're looking at your demeanor, they're looking at your critical thinking skills. So it's a whole lot you have to do.
Thank you, Kingsley. I will go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Oh.
You are muted.
Yes, hello, hello. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Yes, so good evening, my brother. First of all, thank you so much, Brother Kingsley, for sharing your journey with us. I want to show myself, but I'm sitting in a car too. I don't want you to dismiss me. I'm sitting in a car, so. But thank you so much. I think it was very informative, and I think if anything, one thing that's I think that came up a lot was that you know, there's a lot of support from the school, but also there's a lot of you know, like effort and attitude and discipline and passion is something that you know, everybody has to bring in and put it in to be able to achieve the goal. And you know, to say that to hear that, okay, I went to 20 interviews and I keep going, that's like a lot of people would stop, you know, be like just really give up. And I think it's very important you know, to just to make sure that you know, whatever you get in, that we give 100%, and I think that's the key with you. The second thing was you really insist keep coming also the soft skills issue, and I think that's something that's also very I think in a lot of industries. I work in the school system in New York City, and you know, the kids are always with in high school. They always, you know, they have the iPhones, they have laptops, they have everything. But when we come to sending an email or doing a presentation on an Excel sheet or something, like 80% of it, they can't do it. You know, so, and those are things that you really need these days. I mean, all of us, if you want to work in any field, and I think being part of, if you do cybersecurity, somehow you're part of a chain, being able to communicate, you need skills like, you know, Microsoft Office, and whether it's, you know, PowerPoint, Excel, or stuff like that. So that's skills that, you know, we should learn before you even get into any kind of you know, any kind of office office environment. But thank you so much for sharing your journey, and hopefully we'll join also. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we're about to wrap it up here. I know Kingsley gave his last words already, but reason behind what we do here is to let you know that if you're going through the journey, maybe probably if you just listen to Sheila's story, you might, you know, and Sheila did one interview and she got a job, right? So that is Sheila's story. But if you're on here and you did 5 and you're still not getting the job, maybe you'll be discouraged. But now, you know, Kingsley did 20, right? Somebody else did, I think Kenny did almost 40. Right, so now you know, okay, so if I just did 5 and I didn't get it, I have to still I have to still keep going, right? So here we keep it real. We're not going to tell you it's easy by any means. Oh, I mean, just do the course within 3 months, you are ready, and you'll be already working as security. It's not easy. It took Kingsley almost a year to land a job. It took Michael 5 months, almost 6 months, completing the course and getting a job. He got a job within like a month. Right, so it varies. On average, it takes 2 to 4 months to get a job after you finish with the course, right? So, but it takes some people a year. It takes some people, like I know someone. It took her, one of the smartest people in terms of like technical skills. When she went through the program, it took her almost a year and a half to land the job. So we keep it real. We're not going to sugarcoat it and let you know it's going to happen within a month. But one, you know, like the one thing that cuts across everybody, the people who are getting it one interview, 1 for 1, or people who didn't even do an interview and still got a job, people who took almost a year. One thing that really runs through all that story is resilience, right? And perseverance. You don't have to quit. I mean, you don't have to quit. If you quit, then you're not going to get to your destination, right? If you have to move from, like, you are traveling from New York to California and you stop halfway, you're never going to get to California, right? It's not going to be an easy route. You might be robbed on the way. You might run out of fuel. You might, but if you keep going and you just look at the goal, eventually you are going to get there, right? So all you have to do is get better and better from interview to interview to interview. You don't have to be doing the same thing for 10 interviews and then go about crying that, hey, I'm still not getting anything out of this. Interviews, they should be your full-time job until you actually get the cybersecurity full-time job, right? So the job placement process, this is how I look at it. It should be your full-time job together with your full-time job that you're doing. So now you're going to have 2 full-time jobs. The job placement assistants applying for a job, that process should be your full-time job. You treat it as if you are getting paid for it. Because when you do land a job, I'm telling you, it is going to be more than, you are going to be more than paid for that 2 months or whatnot that you were, pushing yourself and applying for jobs like crazy and doing all these crazy interviews. So if you want, for every interview, just write the time. Maybe this was 30 minutes, this was 40 minutes. Then when you do land a job and you are getting paid like Kingsley, you pay yourself back for all those hours, right? But if you don't treat it like that and you're applying for maybe 2 jobs every other week, maybe if you are lucky and you are like, you have shameless luck 1 for 1, yeah, then obviously you have that luxury to do that, right? But if you are like, somebody who has to apply for 15 or 20, to not 15 or 20 jobs, but to do 15 or 20 interviews to get a job, then obviously, it's going to take you a bit longer than the average 2 to 4 months, right? So we do this to encourage everybody and to make you know that it is possible, it is doable. It's not easy, but it's doable, right? And at Eretmis, we are here to support. We have a very supportive group. We are always here to support when you reach out. So everybody reach out to Kingsley. You can find him on LinkedIn. Questions that you might have, right? You can talk to him one-on-one. He's more than happy to help you out. And that also goes to show that we are not inventing people to come and just, sell you air, right? We played a video of Kingsley where we're discussing, and Kingsley was, complaining about, I'm not getting any hate. We didn't know we were going to get here today and we were going to be playing this, right? And I have like a lot of recordings like that of most of the students here, right? So those ones, I mean, if you come back like, okay, I got a job 1 for 1. I never complained about anything. You're like, oh, really? You're just going to break it up and let everybody see how you're struggling, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody's time. I think we have Ike and Abu. I don't know if it's from the last time your hands was raised, but go ahead, Ike, and then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Du. Good evening, everyone. This is Ike. I'm so excited and so happy when I got the link from correctional officer to 6-figure. It's a good news, and it's been a very good, successful story with Eretmis Academy, and I can't wait to share mine. It's been a very success. Like when I realize that I'm in the group and in this very platform, it gives me this confidence and this joy, because it's just like success story all through, and you've seen it. It's real, like Dr. Du said. Keep it real every time. So I have a question for Kirsten, just very brief question. What was the challenges you faced during your interviews? Like like you did a lot of interviews. What can you share that, okay, this was your challenge, this is how you got back to get it right, and the next interview was like this is what you learned from it, and like 1 or 2 examples so we can be able to get that from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so okay, what I said from the beginning was there were interviews I went to, and I knew walking out of that interview that I didn't have it. I was not going to get the job because I struggled. I knew my answers. I knew how I responded to the questions. But like I said, from every interview, I took out something that I had to go work on. Like the questions I knew I struggled with. There are basic things that anytime, any day, if you wake me up, you ask me what's your concept of the CIA, I don't need to think about it because I understand it. But when it comes to deep questions like networking, it comes to encryption, comes to all of risk management, there were things I was struggling with. So after every interview, I took those questions, went back and studied them, so that the next time I come to your interview, I'm not only just going to define encryption, I'm going to tell you the different types of encryption and how they're done. So, because if every other person came and all of us answered the same thing and say, we just define encryption, then what's going to stand me out? So my learning point was, what can I take out of this interview that will stand me out at the next interview? Because you don't know what the other people are bringing to the table. You don't know what knowledge they have. You don't know how technical they are. You don't know how advanced they are. So what is going to stand me out? And at some point, I took every interview as my last opportunity to get a job. That's also very key. Don't take one interview as, it's just an interview, it doesn't matter. I took every interview as, this is my last interview. And so once you have that mindset, you'll be more prepared to say, I don't want to walk out of this interview without getting this job. So I prepared for every interview as if it was my last one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
So, Doc, just before we
Ike.
round off, sorry, I just wanted to put it out there. For those who are doubting, Dr. Adu is not paying any of us to come and do this. This is something we committed to on our own. So we're not here to sell you anything. So you think, oh, Dr. Adu paid them, that's why they're coming here to run their mouth. No, it's not. We're here on our own because we believe in what Eretmis is doing. And again, it's your choice to decide whether this is right for you or not.
Oh, and Matthew, I think is asking, was your interviews remote or were they in person?
It was remote. They actually asked me to turn off my video.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. So I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you, Sheila, for always being a good and awesome co-pilot. Kingsley, we can't thank you enough for the insight that you've shared. And from what Ike was saying, he can't wait one day to share his experience. That was the exact words Kingsley said. If I played the video that we had all the way to the end, right? And he's here today, right? And it didn't come easy. A lot of hard work. Some people might have abandoned the course halfway. Unfortunately, some students do. Sometimes you have to chase some students around and ask them, hey, so what's going on? It's been like 6 months. We've not even heard you come back and say, I'm going for an interview. So what's going on, right? So we literally have to chase them around and ask them, are you, so if you are not getting any hits, like, what are you doing? Just like what we were doing with Kingsley, right? So just to see, because at the end of the day, it's not about your money. We are in business, but you are paying money to get something out of it. We have to make sure you actually follow through and see, right? Our pride and what we get out of this really is not the money, but stories like Kingsley's, stories like Sheila's, stories like Sheila's husbands, right? And these folks, they are making 6 figures. They don't come back to give us anything again. What they paid for the training is what they paid for, but they always reach out to ask for, guidance and all for free, right? You might think Sheila will probably add, some money together with the guidance she's asking, but all for free. Just
really, Dr.
on that
really?
Like my
Sheila
point
is part
is
of the family for
yes.
life.
My point is, I mean, even if Sheila gives it, we're not going to take it. My point is, what you're going to get out of this is going to be for life, is life-changing to you, right? And for us, our pride is to see you get to that level, not necessarily about, I mean, people go to college to pay. How much did Kingsley pay for his master's degree? And how much pay bump did he get, on his job as a corrections officer, right? But how much did he pay for the training? How much is he getting now? The process is what matters. If you stay with it and you don't quit, right, you are going to reap the results. So I encourage everybody.
Rob, let me say something small. Okay, so that is Sheila's husband, Honorable Kwame. Go ahead, Kwame. Prof, I just want to make it known to everybody on here
as you said, the journey is not easy, but it's commitment. But with the hope is like, it's that you having an internal life to go to heaven. The hope is that you have Dr. Edu. And then no matter the situation that you get yourself into, this man will get you relief. Ask him the calls and then the questions, the tests. He will be at the airport. And I'll be like, Prof, just give me 2 minutes. Before you know, they are calling his name. Edu, you don't come to 2 minutes, and he's on the phone with us, trying to give us points to get the job done. So there's not any caveat as to we being over here telling stories, but we are living testimony. So all that you have to do is just prove yourself there and see if you get a job or you not get a job. And if you get a job, where will he be? Will he be able to help you get a job done? And just do your part, and you will also prove himself. So we are living testimony. I will bet 24/7, anywhere, anytime you call me. Once I'm alive, I will speak to this. And it's an encouragement to you that you also have somebody like this. Don't let this man go or get missing in the air and years to buy you that had I known. Now he's here showing his face. He's committed to the whole community. Please take your time, do your homework, learn, and then get to a point that you need his help. And I promise he will get you through. So everybody keep this serious. And the money is good too, you know. I work there 2 hours a day and I'm here with my kids chilling. I can't wait for this summer. Thank you.
All right. So don't listen to Kwame's part of he works 2 hours. He doesn't work so and say, okay, said in cybersecurity you work only 2 hours and you get paid 6 figures. It is never like that, right? Most jobs are just project based. So like Kingsley was saying, it's big boy, big girl rule.
Yes.
If you have a project to deliver by Friday and you're able to get it done by Tuesday, I mean, like the rest of the week is for you, right? But mostly I encourage you have to be proactive. You have to be looking out what is coming out next week, next 2 weeks, right? So that you even it out. So if you even it out, then always you have a lot of time, right, for yourself and your family. But all we are talking about all these is very, you know, very interesting and very good, but it doesn't come easy, right? Kwame had to put in a lot of work. Sheila, everybody had to put in a lot of work. Kwame, sometimes we had to chase him around with a cane, right, before he was able to get to where he got to. So, but we are here to help. So our goal is to really make sure, frankly, that you succeed. So I appreciate everybody's time. If you are new to the family, this is Eretmis Academy. We do this cyber chat every Friday night. And like you can see, you know, we are family, we have good time, but our main focus is to really develop ourselves and become the best cybersecurity professionals that we can ever become on this planet, right? And also to help save our companies and our families and ourselves from cyber attacks, right?
Yes.
So we are wrapping up for tonight. I appreciate you, Sheila. Kingsley, thank you for your insights and everything that you shared. And you are a living testimony to everybody on here and also to your family and your friends. That is very doable. If you want to do career switch, like switching careers are not easy, but with the help of God and you also doing your part, it is also always going to turn out to be great, right? I appreciate everybody's time. We are wrapping it up. Thank you very much. We'll meet again same time next week, Friday. During the week, all classes are going to still be on. I know we canceled a few this week because I had some family emergency. So, but next week, everything is going to go on. For everybody on here, if you are new, we have our free courses on our website, eretmisacademy.com. Please check them out. And all other courses are at eretmis.com. Check them out. But take the free ones first. We have free ones for cybersecurity, cybersecurity for beginners and PCI for beginners. They are all free. And then also you can check out all other courses and reach out if you need help, right? I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much. We'll meet again next week, Friday, for another educative session of Cyber Chat. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Edu. But what about tomorrow? What time is our class tomorrow?
Thank you, Dr. Edu.
So for the interns, the class will be posted out, like the time will be posted tonight.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Good
Thank you,
night,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.